Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Mem Ches Amud Aleph, the fourth line from the top. Here's the Simonim where he's going to talk about the machlekes between Rava, whether Hazmana designating Lav Milsi is nothing, or according to Abaya, Hazmana is something. Zok the Gemara Meitzvei, Frag the Gemara Akasha. On Rava's Shita, that Rava says Hazmana means nothing, there's a idea of Tumas Midras, a Zav. When a Zav sits on something, the thing is tummy, and not stam. He's Ava Tuma. Okay, Zog the Gemara Kafa. The thing that he sat on is tummy, and all the sheets under it is tummy. That he's not going through those details. He's just telling you Tumas Midas. Kafa, if the here it doesn't mean a kippah like a yarmulke, but here it means like a kerchief that the women would cover their heads on. Shehu tummy midas. And which is a tummy, which could become tummy midas, that if a zav folded it up and sat on it, it would be a avatuma, unasanatu. And the isha took this kerchief, let's say as decided, no more for cover for the head. I'm using it for a cover of a sefer Torah. Then the din is harizat toim min amidas. It's no more. It's no more Tomei Avatuma. It became a new inyan, but the tuma that it has like a kli that which is not designated for the woman. It's designated for it's a kli designated for the sefer Torah, and that becomes a rishon latuma. It's only a rishon latuma. It doesn't become a avatuma only if it's used for the midas and it's designated for the midas for her head, and she sat on it. Then it has a din as avatuma. Avatumi maga midas, he says, but the tummy of maga, which makes it a rishon latuma, does that remains, but it's not an avatuma like avatuma that the first one becomes a rishon. No, it's a rishon latuma that makes it. So there's a difference between avatuma. Avatuma is metama ichlanu mashkin. And a rishon latuma is not metama ichlanu mashkin. So he says now it fell down a whole degree that it cannot be metama ichlanu mashkin like avatuma. Zog the Gemara.
How can you remove the tuma from one level to another level?
Because he changed the usage. He says it's not designated. And here there's a pirish that's saying it didn't even happen. It didn't become tummy even. Here he said there's a sheet that says it never became tummy. The chatchila was for the woman, designated for a woman, that it could become tummy midas and become avatuma, and then they decided to use it for a kisui for the sefer Torah, and it lost the status of being a kippah for a tzifah. Even though it's designated, now it loses the status if it becomes for a kisui sefer Torah. So what is it? Is 1 minute. So let's go weiter. So he says, but it's tamei magamidas. So what do we see? Since the Mishnah teaches us this designation, that he designated this kippah, this cover that was used for the head, and designated now for a sefer Torah, all of a sudden the designation helps to take it away from avatuma to rishon latuma. So you have a raya that hazmana milsi, like Abai is a kasha of Rava. Rava says hazmana lav milsi. You got it? And for the Gemara, Amos say the kavanah of the Mishnah is nesa. Amos says the Gemara say the kavanah of the Mishnah is not just that it was designated, but they actually used the kerchief and they covered the sefer Torah with it. Amos nesa natu that they designated it, ukirachatoi, and they also wrapped with that teif the sefer Torah. So there was a ma'aseh mepel also. Lovely the sanatu uchirachatu. What? Just do the kricha. The minute that you cover the sefer Torah with it, that alone is enough. It changed the status of this kerchief from becoming a kerchief that's used for the hair of a woman, and now it's used for the head of a woman, and now it's to change the status as a kli for a cover of a sefer Torah because you actually did it. Why do you have to have designation? If you want to get Avchizda, like Avchizda, Domin Avchizda, Hai Sudra, this kerchief, the Asben Lemeitza Beit Tefillin, that a person designated this kerchief to wrap the tefillin, Vitzar Beit Tefillin, and he designated it for to wrap tefillin with it. Also, lemeitze be pshite. He cannot use that thing that he used to wrap the tefillin to wrap money with it. There's a kedusha already. There's a whole shaila if somebody, a shver gave his eidim, and he says, I want you to use this parka pen or whatever, this special pen, only to write the very Torah. Could he use it for other things or not?
Write a check.
A check is a good thing. I mean, that's helped Lenin Torah. Anyway, Zak the Gemara, Azmanei, what's if he designated it? He designated it what for a Sefer Torah, that it should be a cover for a Sefer Torah. V'lo tzarbe. But for a cover for the tefillin, for a bag for the tefillin, but he didn't yet put the tefillin in there. Or tzarbe, what's if, or he actually used it for a cover of the tefillin, but he didn't designate, didn't say, this bag is going to be designated for the tefillin. He can use it for money. Because Avchizda says there are two conditions to make this have a kedusha of the status of a cover of tefillin. You have to say designated for it, and you have to say use it, the actual bepil, use it as a back of tefillin. If he didn't use it, the designation doesn't help. According to Abaye, that he says designation alone is enough, right? So, in fact, the Gemara says if it's enough that it should be. So why does he have to actually be used? Azmane, if he designated, so Abaye says he argues. He says that's enough. Taka, even though he didn't actually put the tefillin in the bag, right? Sorry, but even though he didn't prepare tzarbe, if he actually did wrap the tefillin in it, if he designated it, then it's gonna have a din for just for tefillin, and it's also to use it for mois. But if he didn't designate it for the usage of tefillin, then it doesn't become usur for wrapping money. Zok the Gemara Toshma, come in here and I'll bring you a raya that the hasmana, when you designate, it does give it the kedusha. Where do we see that? This is a second case. Before the first case we brought down was Benegeya to Kippah. That was the first one. And now we're talking about Nefesh. That's the Chatziva, the second siman.
Who holds it as one as Milsis Abaye holds?
Abaye holds as one of Milsi. Toshma, come in here and I'll bring you a raya as one is Milsa. The opposite of what Rava says. Nefesh is they build a matzeva over the keva, a structure over the keva, like we have by the feet of the Rebbe.
It's like oil.
Like oil, yeah, exactly that. Shebanu l'shem chai, but that is it called a monument? These things these structures above the ground around the kvarim. I don't know what they call it.
Mausoleum?
Yeah, whatever. So it's a structure around the keva. But he built it only for while he was alive, l'shem chai, for a person that's living.
And he's in the cave.
Almanas, that later on, if he dies, this is his structure that he wants around the.
So he made it before.
We made it before. Mutba no, he can have a no. If he added a shoot of avonim, he made another round. He made it a little higher, a row of stones around.
He made together.
Echad l'shem meis. He did it for somebody who already died. Asma, then you can't have a because you're having a from a maze. It's called shimush of a maze. You're not allowed. It's also to use anything that belongs to a maze.
The guy should run away.
You know, huh?
They made X together. Should the maze not run away?
So it's us to me. He's afraid the mace is going to run out, so that's why they build a little higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says.
Does not want anybody to run in.
Right, yeah. That's a better one. Yeah. So you're not allowed to use anything that's for tzach hameis. So this brisa shows that the etzim, adding the row l'shein mace for a mace, asas it b'ano, because just by designating. So you see.
But it's a nicer hill.
But you didn't actually bury the mace. You said it's l'shem a guy who died already, but he wasn't buried yet, Bepel. So do you see Hasmana is Milsa? The designation is like the words of Abaye. And the Gemara, you have the case wrong. The Rabban be mace. We're talking about that the mace was there, and then he built it. So there was a mace there. So what do you have to add a row to make it also? As the mace is done, is yet out tzarcha mace. The mace is there, it's all for the need of the mace. You don't want to have a no. Even if you wouldn't have that row, l'shem mace. But if the mace is buried there, it's called tzarcha mace. So it's talking about afagav the panya. That we're talking about even in a case where they took out the mace from there. And there's the times that you could take out a mace, very seldom. Either the guy was buried there, then you can move out the mace from there. Yeah? If somebody dug a hole in your field, or in your front yard, gorgeous yard, and he puts a mace there. It's you're allowed to empty it out, and it's not asmana. Well, here we're talking about he did it amanas he put it in there temporary to move him away. So then, if he takes him away, it's not asa because it wasn't designated before for the mace. So Rav from Bar Papa, even more so, Rav from Bar Papa said, if the person recognized which row was designated for the mace, he could remove that row. And when he takes out the mace, he removes that row because the whole structure was built while he was for the sake while he was alive. That if he dies, so that doesn't have a is of shimushi mace. But after he died, they built one row and they said it's for the mace. That made the whole structure usher. But if you remove that row that you made special for the mace, the extra piece, and you took out the mace, it's back to it's normal. It's not usher.
What if you just take out the row? You made a special row, but the mace is not there. So
right. But no, we're talking about there was a structure from before, and then he added a row for the person who died. They made let's say 6 rows. They made l'shem chai. They built while he was alive. Then when he dies, then when he died, they made another row. Oh, they said this row. Now we're building over the structure a little higher. It's for the mace. So the whatever they did, but now it's all usher. So they said even if you take out the mace, it's all going to be usher. So they say, you know what you want? You know what you can do? Take out the mace. Remove the row that you did after he died, that extra row, and then the rest of the structure is mutter. Sagt die Mother, Tashma, come here. I'll bring a raya that has manas milsa or is la milsa from here. A chaytz of kevel of the halach ukvar bekevach. Somebody who dug out a kever for his father in one place, and then he went and he put him in another place, like you said in Svas. And then he decided, okay, where was the other place in Har Hazeisim? So he took him from he dug one in Svas, and he went to Har Hazeisim, buried him over there. Lo you covered by your The one that he dug out in Svas, too bad, no more. You can never bury anyone over there.
Wow. Well, what about if somebody else wants to go bury?
But nobody can bury there. That's it. So if your mother has some,
what you paid for it, that's it.
In the money you can't do it. You can't. Yeah, but if he paid, even the Chevek Hadish cannot use it for any other cave, for nobody.
He sells it back to the Chevek Kadisha.
He can't. It's covered on mace.
The mace is not buried there anymore.
It doesn't matter. You designated for the mace.
Who knows?
No, we're talking about that. He said that it's for that mace, for his father. Says you want to hustle. It's not so. It's not the isa of covered on mace because he designated for the mace. They start keep it up. Mishum covered aviv, because for the covered of his father, they designate a place for his father. So you don't want it to be a disgrace. Right, it doesn't matter. But that place he designated for his father, it's going to be for a disgrace for his father that they're using it for other things.
I'd be upset.
So too, it's reasonable to say the Ketani Sefer. We learned in the Sefer even somebody who cuts out stones from a mountain and to use it to build a structure. And then he went ahead and he buried the father in another place. He cannot bury with those stones. He cannot use those stones at all. Says if you say it's the cover for his father, I understand that you can't use those stones ever for any kfura. Even for his own kfura, he can't. Elai amarta. What if you can say Mishum has money because he designated those stones for a structure for the kfura for his father? Says that's a joke. It's a tova b'lariga mi'ikan l'manda oma. Somebody was, let's say, is there a manda oma? Meaning, even the one that says Hazmana Milsahi. He's not going to answer when a guy designates the threads while it's being spun. This is for the tachrichim, for the mace. It's not a designation because it's before it's even a beggar, before it's even a cloth. It's a bunch of threads. It's nothing. Even the one that says Hasmana Milsi, not in such a case. It has to be the last step. So here also, he cut out stone. It's not even, you have to work out the stone, that it should be, a stone is not right away ready when you bang out a stone. You have to straighten it out, you have to make it square, and you have to be able to put it in as a structure. So it's so premature.
Today you buy the stones, you don't go.
Okay, but here we're talking about he went to the mountain, he's carving out stones. It says, Yechaitzev. What was the case of it? Now he has a whole process to fix it up, to make the stone. So there's many steps to being ready to be built. So even the one that says Hasmana Milsi, he won't hear. Here he'll disagree. He'll say, here it's not. It's zero. So it has to be because of Kavod Aviv. It has to be the reason why it's also because of Kibbutz Av. Zagdimar Tashma, come in here. I'll bring you a different raya. If Hasmana is Milsi or not. Kever Chadash, a new kever, which he didn't designate for anybody. Stop, he dug a kever. Mutabana. The halacha is it's mutabana. Because it wasn't yet for any specific base.
What can you do with it?
You could sell it, you can have enough from it. It's not yet designated for anybody.
It's fast.
He's talking about selling, it's in a place of basic requires. Up a spot, no.
I'm saying it's already.
They have ready places.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So over here, he's saying that it was a new kever. He dug out, for nobody.
Okay.
So now he can do whatever he wants. He can sell it. He can do whatever he wants. Mutmana. He to buy nefel. What's if a nefel fell in or put in? Asmana. It's asmana. Now nefel doesn't have the same bearing as a regular mace, but he says it's asmana. It says only hitel in. Only if the nefel was put in there, then it's asmana. But like hitel, like because man, he didn't put in any mace in there, any nefel in there, then it's not asmana. So we see by Keva Chadash, it's mutbana, even when he built it for a person which already died. Huh? The one who built it, the one who made it. So could he sell it? Could he not sell it? Is it considered tzarech hameis and you're not allowed to touch this? And here he says, even that he built it l'shem a person who already died, but since it's no mace was ever there, so it's not called tashmish hameis. So this brisa tells us that it doesn't become us through designating it as one elab milsi. You could say that whoever built a structure above the ground, l'shem, a mace that died already, hu adin afagav loyitel. This applies even if the mace wasn't placed in the keva, it would be usher. And he's only coming to exclude from Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. The Omar who says, Ein lenefolim tfisas hakeva. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says if a nefel falls in the keva, and then let's say you remove it, right? It doesn't have a tvisa that it will become isa ilamis like a regular mace. Rabbi Shimon, you can. And if you do take him out, it stays. He says it doesn't have the isa of a regular mace. If you took out a regular mace, the keva is asalo ilam. You can't use it forever. It's always tamei, and you can't use it. But nefel, he holds you could. Kamash one. This town has come to teach us no, that even go away. Even a nefel makes it. Even a nefel has a tfisis ilamis. But please don't come back now. In fact, you might Tashma, come in here. We'll learn a raya from a different raya about Hasmana, about designating. It says Meisa Mesim, the leftover from tzedakah that people collected for the tzarech mesim. They have enough money for the mace, and now there's leftover money. What do we do for that? So he says you collect it for mesim, lemesim. So you have to leave for the next mesim for the other people that pass away. But meisa mace. But what's if they collected for one person one mace, and now you have leftover money?
Do we have such a thing today?
People that collect,
Mason?
they should have. But I mean, I had somebody in my class. I'm not going to say his name, but his father passed away, and there was no money. So I got from 2-3 people for the whole thing. It was like $11,500. Today it's much more money, but whatever.
So we have to set up a fund.
I think so. Yeah, that's a great thing. You're right. Moisa Meis.
Learn Shabbos.
That's a chesed shel emes.
That's the cheshel emes. So he says the leftover that they collect over for this mace, they have leftover money, so he goes to Yerushav for the Yerushav of that mace to do what they want because they had already they used up the money.
You have to put a stone for him.
They have everything. Now there's leftover money. So now you see Hasman is Milsi because it was designated this money for the mace, and now there's extra money. You say okay, the Yerushav can take the money. So you see the designation of that money that was made for the mace. It's not a designation. It means nothing. You can give it. If there's extra money, it goes to the Yarshim. So you want to know, really has money milsi. Hachmai skin over here it's talking about Shagavu that they collected tzedakah mechaim from when he was alive. They said when you die, that's when that's when you use the money. You know the famous story. I told you this. I think that there was a person, the father of Gekoisis, and his son came to the Rav, and he says, I have a problem. He says that according to the Cheshma, when he dies, he's not going to be able to sit Shiva. So he wants to know if he could sit Shiva now. Because he has business deals, he can. So that's how I have sit Gadol. I have sit Mammon. So the Rav says, yeah. So he could sit. He could start Shiva now. So they told the father this, and the father heard this. So he had a shayla too. He came to the Rav, Bill Bissen. Okay, so you mother. So he said, in fact, the Tana didn't learn this way. You're saying that he was Gov Mechayim, and once if it's Gov Mechayim, there's no Isa no. It's only if you designated after he died. But here they collected the money when he was alive. So the Isa of Tashmish Meish doesn't exist. So it's not talking about Gov Mechayim. Look what it says in the Mishnah. It says in the Mishnah, Moisa Meisim goes to the Meisim. If he collected for many Meisim, so after the money is left over for one mace, it goes for the next mace. But the second case that you want to say they collected Mechayim, it doesn't say that. It says Moiser HaMace. It says the leftover that they designated for the mace, the collection of that specific mace. The Yersha, that goes to the Yersha. We Tani Allah, and we learned on this, the Tana of the Bryce learned on this, Ketzat. How is it talking about? Go over the Mason Stom. If he didn't do it for any specific mace, so that's how even that if there's leftover money, Mesa Mason, then it goes for all the Mason. That's the case of Mesa Mason. And if there's extra money for Mason from that's left over from one mace, it goes for the next. But in Gavul mace, what's if they collected specifically for this mace? Zo Mesa Mace. This is the extra money that's left over after they buried the mace. That goes to Yarshov. That means. So you see, but finish from the Mishnah that we're talking about it's a mace. In fact, you might have the time according to your reasoning. Ema Sefer. Look what it says in the Sefer. In the Sefer of the Mishnah, it says, Rabbi Meir lo yigabahem. It says a person shouldn't touch the mace, the extra money from the mace. We have to wait till a Yo Navi comes and he'll figure it out if it goes to the Yarshim or it belongs for the mace. Right? Yeah, let it interest in we'll keep it in escrow. Rabbi Nosson says.
What's Mishashiv?
Right, yes. Rabbi Nosson said. Yeah, Senodimus al Kibrei. You add extra row on the keva because there's extra money, so you make it fancy for him, a little bit fancy. Or Zilov lifnei mitase. And you make the procession, the whole ceremony nicer. You put some wine in front. They'll smack good.
Music.
Didn't say music, but But you put wine, so smacking good. You make it a nice thing. That's what he says over here. It's like a cover for the mess. Even more so when they do that. So the shaila. So what is it? So is it designated for the mace or not? Says your mother. He can't prove each one. You can't prove either way. Abaya, we can learn all three shittas according to Abaya, who says Azmana Milsi, and we can learn all three shittas according to Rabba, who says designated means nothing. Let's start with Abaya. Abaya could answer all these three shitas according to his shita, and Rabbi could answer all these three shitas according to his. Abaye goes according to his shita, the Kuli Alma Hazman Milsi. Everybody's in agreement, designating is something, is chashuv, and it becomes holy. Tana Kama Saba, the Chazalei, Tafis. Only the money that was fit to use for the mace, that's what was called the designation. The extra money was not for the mace. The extras is not for the mace. That's what the Tanakama holds. The loy chazilei, loy toughest. The Tanakama holds if it was above what's needed for the mace, that's not considered designated for the mace. Okay. That's the Tanakama according to Abaye.
But they won't know until after.
Till after. So what?
So
now
it's
it's
somebody has to make a chasana and he doesn't need all that extra money. You can take it back.
That's you mean by tzedakah. So where does it that we had the Gemara? Where should it go? Or for purim? Could you use it for other tzedakahs? Yeah, being mishana tzedakahs.
We'll take it back.
You could take it back if that's what it was. Okay, and it was. So then you get it back. You're right. According to the Tanakama, Rameya mishapkele yitavsi loy tavsi. Rameya is mesupik. If the money, only the money that was used for the mace is that's what counts, and above that doesn't count, or not. Hilkach lo yigabahem achi yo. He says, since I'm not sure if the tfisa, when he said I'm designating this money that's being collected for the tzach hameis, did he mean all the money that's being collected, or did he mean only the money that's right for the mace? So he says, I'm not sure. So Rabbi Nosson, we'll soon see. Rabbi Nosson, what?
So you all come to Mandalach.
No, that's only one shita. The first shita says it's only on the money that was used for the mace. Rabbi Nosson says pshita the vade tafis. He says for sure the money, when he said all the money that we're collecting for the mace has to go for the mace. And Hilkach, Yasa Dimisal Kivrei, you make it fancy, you add another row, you make a nicer monument, and you throw wine, you do whatever it needs to use up the money. But Rabbi says everybody holds Likuli Alma Azman Alam Milsi. Designating is zero. How is he going to explain the three shitas like this? Tana Kamasava Kivazule. When they went and they were mevaza, the covet of their father, the covet of the mace, by collecting money. So the father, so this person, this mace, is going to a ducha b'zoyin, but he says they're collecting for him. He doesn't cover his bills. It's achuli says achuli machul zilusi gabayoshin. He's machul on the b'zoyin, and he says whatever extra, let it go to the yoshin. After he dies, we assume that's what he meant alive. The father. Rabbeinu is not so sure if he was meichel on the bezaynus that he had. Maybe no. If I went through this bezayn, let me look good, and therefore he doesn't know. He'll koch lo yigabahem achi yavi yo. We have Nosson. He says pshita leidel machol. For sure, such a bezayn that this person went through. No way he's meichel. They're going to have to build higher. Put some wine. No way. They're going to have to. They shouldn't get the money. He went through the bezaynus. He wants the money to go for him. A nice cave.
What do we do?
Okay, Tashma, come ahead. We'll soon see which first the halach is like.
The guy said he wants to have his cave of mahogany.
Oh my God.
A rich guy, so his cave should be made with mahogany.
Tashma, come ahead. I'll bring you an ayah again. If Hasman is Melsi or not. So, because we couldn't prove it from before, each one was able to learn all three shitas. So he brings a different case. The father and mother of Nebuch lost a son, and they clog sich and they're crying, and they take the gold, silver, the beautiful gold, and they're throwing it on the mace. It's not worth to us anything if you're not around. It's not worth to live. So they're throwing on him. Mitzvah lachin latzilan. The halacha is that people should take it off the mace right away, and it's like a mitzvah b'shavas aveda. Because if it gets buried, you're not going to be able to take it out. It's going to be a hefset. Yeah, they take it away because they're not thinking straight. Says the Gemara. So you see, designation means nothing. Because they threw it and they designated it for the mace. So Gemara has mishumar there because they're bitter, they're in pain. So it's not gemidas das. It's not first of all, not in the right mind at that time, and therefore it's not considered as a real designation. In fact, Gemara Yachiv so Hainu diktani Allah. This that the Tana learned. Amar Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Bamed. What about Morim? That's what
Where are we up to?
on the other side. Fragt die Gemara Yachi. If so, Hainu diktani Allah. This that the Tana learned, but they gave this side. Amar Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Bamed. What about Morim? When were these words said that you have to save the clothing and grab it away from there before it gets buried? As long as it didn't touch the bed of the mace. But because it says there's a time when the mace is not on the bed that's being brought to the Kfur. It seemed like there was different beds. But once it was put on the mace was put on the bed, which that bed is going to be the bed that's going to be buried with the mace. So if it touched that mita asurin, it's asur, and the Gemara is going to explain why. So you see, it's asur, asbana, and you're not allowed to save it. So how could you explain? How do you say this hayra that the reason is because they couldn't think straight? There's hasmana, you see, and the isanotos is chal. Says you want to take Allah, but there it's talking about. Oh, I already gave the answer. It's talking about which bed did they say you're not allowed to save from? If it went on the bed which the mace is being buried with it. And there, the reason why they did it, even though officially you should be able to take it back, but really you should be able to take it back. But over here, if people will see that we're taking it off the bed of the base, the mechalfa betachrichem mace, people will think, oh, you're allowed to even take off the tachrichem and from the mace, and so we don't want to come to such exchange, chas v'sholem, and that's why they said if it hits the bed which the mace is on, that's going to be buried with him. That's the last stage, and it touches that we're not allowed to take off. Tashma, come in here, says I'll give you a ride from here, whether Hasmana Milsa or not. Kiss shasoy lo'anich beit film. A kiss, a bite like cover that's made to put in film, a bag that's made to put in film. Also lo'anich by mois. You're not allowed to put in money in it. But what if it's a kiss hinich beit film? He's stam kiss, which he happened to find, and he needed to put his tefillin somewhere. He put it in that bag, and he didn't designate it for the tefillin. Then he could put in money. Says the Gemara. So you see, if it was designated, it is. So from the first Torah, you see the etzem making the keys for hatznoas hatefillin for is a designation. Says the Gemara. Ema say. It's not just that he designated it. He put in the tefillin also. Then also lanir by mayis. Then you're not allowed to put in money. Like Avchiza said, you need both noyim. You need side designation and side actually using it. Toshma, come in here, says Gemara, I'll bring a right from the Braisa. Amal Uman, I say we tik shall sefer. Or not tik shall tefillin. Make me a cover for sefer Torah or a cover for tefillin, a bag for tefillin. Actually, nishtamish b'hem kodesh. The din is, even before they used it, it's already holy. I'm sorry, to put in the Sefer Torah and the Natik Tefillin, mutar lishtamish b'chayil. You still can use it as chayil. But nishtamish b'hem kodesh. But what if they actually use it? Also nishtamish b'hem chayil. Then you cannot use it for like money. So this is taka machlekes of tanoim. Because here it comes out that Hasmana la milsi, because it says that just by designating it, this kiss or natik for the tefillin or for the Sefer Torah doesn't make it holy. You have to actually use it. And so it's like Rava who says Hasmana la milsi. He says, you want to know it's a machlekes. We'll show you the other Tana. There's a Tana that says Hasmana milsi. Tanya that we learned in the Braisa, tzipon. If the tefillin was, they covered the bayis with gold, zav. Or they added on the bottom another piece of material over the bottom. Psulis, it's puzzle. But if they made it out of Torah skin, shadis, even though they didn't work out the skin, and even meaning lishma, they didn't do it lishma, meaning they didn't designate it l'shem shimish tefillin. He says even from the behemoth meya, you have to say it's l'shem for the tefillin. If not, it's not going to be kosher for the tefillin, because he holds hasmana the Tanakama doesn't need the Ibud Ha'ir. The Tanakama says just by putting it from Torah is kosher. But Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says no, it has to have Azmana. So you see the Machlekes. It's 5-2. 5:53. We have 2 minutes. Yeah, is there a place that this doesn't make sense? You're saying that when are they going to designate it? After he dies. What are you going to ask? You're going to wait. He's going to die, and then you're going to collect money to make him tachlichim. Yeah, there's such a place. The people, the dead people in Apanya, they were all aniyim, and they didn't have money, so they had to wait till he died to be able to collect money, and then they would make the tachlichim. No, they would never get their money. Mereima said the halach is like Abaya, that has money is a milsa. But the other chacham say the halach is like Rabba, that designating means zero. The halach is like Rabba, that if you designate means zero. Those that are killed by because they were made of malchus, their nechasim go to the king. Harugei Bezdin. Those that are killed by Bezdin, their possessions go liyarshim to their ears, to the yarshim. Rabbi Yehuda af harugei malchus nechseim liyarshim. Rabbi Yehuda argues, he says even harugei malchus, their possessions go to the yarshim. Amalei. The Chacham said to Rabbi Yehuda, it says already by the pasuk. It says already, Benegeyed Achav ben Amri took away the vineyard from Navais. Hine Bekedem Navais Asher Yared Sham L'Rishtei. It says that Benegeyed to the vineyard of Navais, that he went down there L'Rishtei. L'Rishtei means to inherit. That means Achav inherited Navais. Amalhem. So Rabbi Yehuda said to Chachamim, what? Achav inherited Avin? That's how he got it? Not because of Nichsei Malchus, Arugi Malchus, but rather it was because of you're saying he got it as a Yerusha. Achav took the Kerem with Tzurah Shal Yerusha Min Hadin, not with Tzurah Shal Gzeila, meaning that Nichsei Arugi Malchus goes to the king. Amalahem says, how could you say that he got it as a Yerusha? Ben Achi Aviv, he was only a cousin. I'm sorry. Amalahem, so the Gemara says, how did he get a talk? If you're going to say it's mashma l'rishtay that he got a zirusha, and here you said that nichsei harugi malchus it goes to the king because he wasn't a yedesh. So it has to be because of nichsei harugi malchus goes to the king. Says Gemara Amalahem. So Rabbi Yehuda said back to the Chacham ben Achi Aviv Haya. That we can answer, Rabbi Yehuda answered the Chachamim, Achav was a first cousin. And he was fit to Yashin. How could Achav come as a cousin before the children of Navis itself? Amalahem says the Gemara that he had a lot of children, but Achav killed not only Navis, but he killed all his children. Shanem, like it says in the pasuk, about when the Eibishter took Nekama from the house of Achav, about the story of the vineyard that he took away from Navis, it says, he came with a claim against Achav for the blood that he spilled of the children of Navis. So you see, he killed his sons of Navis as well. So the Gemara explains, how are you going to explain the Chachamim who say that the Bnei Navis were fit to Yashin? So Rabbanan, the Chachamim say no. This that really Navis leftover children, and how do we explain that Achav was being punished for killing his children? That he killed them prematurely because he could have had more children. He's talking about the future children, like the story with Cain and Hevel. It says over there also the children that Hevel could have had. That's why he's being punished for spilling the bloods of his children. It says plural bloods, meaning even the children of the future that he could have had. It makes sense that Achav took the Kerem, the vineyard of Navis, because Nechasim go to the king. When somebody's married with Malchus, this is what it says to the vineyard of Navis, that the Eidei Sheker, they said, Melech Navis of the king of Melech, that Navis cursed Hashem and the king. So therefore, they had to testify that Navis cursed the king in order that he should be chayv for Meridim Malchus, because without that, Achav wouldn't have been zeicha in the vineyard of Navis, because it says that according to that Man De'Ama, that the only way the king can get it if he was Meridim Malchus. But according to Man De'Ama, that says that the possessions go to the Yashin. Why did they even have to testify that he cursed the king? He could have said that he cursed Hashem, and for that he's Chaim Mises Basnin, and the possessions go to the Yashim. According to your reasoning, that you say that the reason why the Melech got it because somebody's married with Malchus, then the possessions go to the king. Why did the Edom have to testify that he cursed Hashem? And for the Gemara, the only reason why he did it, you have to say only to make the Dayanim, to add more anger on the Dayanim on Navis, that they shouldn't say he did it for himself. Rather, he was even worse. He was not only was he married with Malchus, but he cursed Hashem. Here too, according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says that Achav was in the Kerem Midin Yerusha. So if it was Medin Yerusha, why did he have to say it was married with Malchus? To add a pile of Avedas that he did. Not only did he curse Hashem, he also cursed the Melech. So it's understood according to Mandam that says that Harug Malchus, those that get killed by the king for, let's say, being married with Malchus, rebelling against the king, their possessions go to the Melech. This is what it says, Yoya ran to the Olav Hashem, he held on to the corners from the Zayach, and he said, Yoya said, he said he will not live because he will die here, meaning he will die a natural death from hunger. So I understand. So the Shliach, the Shliach of Shlomo HaMelech couldn't kill him only if he stayed. That's what Yoav thought, that he'll stay and hold on to Kanas on his day. But if Harugei Malchus, why did he do that? Because he didn't want to get killed by the king, because he wanted he should die from hunger, and then his children, his Yashim, will Yashin him. But if the king will kill him, then his Nechseim, his possessions will go to the king. But according to Mandiyam, that says even if a king kills him, his possessions go to the Yashim. What difference does it make if he gets killed by the king? Nevertheless, his possessions will go. So why did he have to say that he's going to hold on to the corners of his beich and he wants to die a natural death from hunger and not be killed by the king? Even if he's killed by the king, his children would have inherited him. And he just was stalling for time, because Ben Yehoyada, he was the general. He would have to first go back and tell Shlomo HaMelech, and prolong more time for him to be able to live. Like it says, and Nayo went back to Shlomo HaMelech, and he says, this is what Yoav said, and this is what I answered. It's mashma that Yoav had a whole conversation with him. So the Gemara says, what was the rest of the conversation? He says like this: Amalei Yoav said to him, "Yo, Zil Amalei, go and tell King Shlomo Tarte Lo Yisaved B'Hai Gavra. You cannot do both things to this person. If you're going to kill him, then accept all the curses that your father gave me, and you take the curses upon yourself, and then he's ready to be killed. And if you don't want to accept the curses, you want the curses should go on Yoav, then Shafkid Yoav says, leave me alone. The lake and let me accept all the curses as a punishment that David HaMelech had given those curses. But the king said to Benayo, tell him, He says, do exactly like he says. Say that he's ready to accept all the klolos. Shlomo is ready to accept all the klolos of the father, and kill him and bury him. Obviously, he didn't kibbutz because that's what the shlichus of the father was, to kill Yael. Even though he would get the klolos. All the curses that David had cursed, Yoav happened to the children of David. It says, "Al yikaros mebeis Yoav zav u'metzora u'masik ba'pelach." That from the house of Yoav, there'll be a zav, there'll be a metzora, there will be a person that come from him that will have to lean on a stick, and one will fall by sword, and they'll be missing food by other descendants of David HaMelech. Zav, where do we find the punishment of Zavos? From Rechavam, who is the son of Shlomo the Chsiv, HaMelech Rechavam is Amitz Lalis by Merkava Lanz to Yerushalayim. King Rechavam strengthened himself to go up on the Merkava on the wagon to run to Yerushalayim. Chsiv Kol HaMerkav Asher Yikol HaLov Hazav Yitam Yitma. So you see, it says Merkav by Zav, and it says Merkava by Rechavam going to run to Yerushalayim. So here, when he went up, it says Lash Merkava. Obviously, he was to make. It's like we're dashing a Zeta Shava between Merkava and Merkav, that it's Adamas that Rechavam was a Zav. So the Metzora, who was punished with Metzora, Meziom, who was king of Yehuda, he was Mizara David. It says, in his strength, that he felt, he bragged about himself, he had Gaiva, till a destructive way. And he was Mayel, and he sinned against Hashem his God. He wasn't a Kohen, and he came into the Heichel Hashem to burn the Mizbeach, on the Mizbeach, the Keteiros. Even though he wasn't a Kohen. It says the Tzaras was shining from his forehead. The Klala of Machs Ba'Pelach, that he would have, he'll have a descendant that will have to lean on a stick. Asa was the king of Yehuda with the children of David. The chsiv that it says over there, that it says only to his old age he got sick in his feet. And Yehuda said that he caught gout. What's the sickness of gout? It says it feels like a needle going into raw flesh. Know that he himself had this sickness. That he got it from his rabbeim. That the secrets of Hashem go to those that are Yidei Hashem, are God-fearing people. Meaning that the Eibishter tells them Baruch HaKodesh. I'll do one more Neifla Cherev. That it says. Okay, we'll leave it for tomorrow.